Welcome to the Money Watch Show. It's Saturday, April 19th, and we are here talking to you about different aspects of your financial journey. I'm your host. I'm Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst and certified financial planner. I am joined by my co-host, Mark Talercio, who's also my executive producer, who's also the king of all things web for my website, jillonmoney.com, and also a certified financial planner. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Jill. Speaking of that, I just in my inbox got the reminder. It is time to renew your CFP certification. Cha-ching!
You got that. So how much is that now? $500-$600?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Every year.
Kevin Keller. He's retiring, I think.
That's right.
So I can go blame somebody else. Anyway, we're renewing, and we're going to I have to do my continuing ed this year. I got to renew early, sooner rather than later. I'm not waiting to the bitter end of the year like usual. I'm usually getting it done at like December 16th, but I'm going to get my continuing ed done. Anyway, Mark and I are here to talk about all the different aspects of your financial life. You know, Mark, it always cracks me up when we talk to people about buying a house. You know, there was recently in the New York Times, they did this big magazine special about housing is no longer part of the American dream. Whenever they make proclamations like this, I always think, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think it should be the American dream. Like, there's plenty of stuff that can be part of your American dream. And certainly buying a house is a very hard thing to do. But I think that many people don't understand that when you buy a house, it's not just the principal and the interest. And by the way, housing prices are up by about 50% in 5 years. Interest rates are way higher. There's that dreaded property tax. There's that dreaded homeowners insurance, all of which is rising. And then, my friends, there is maintenance of your existing structure. And Mark, these are times where maybe some people were before the latest gyrations in the market. Maybe some people were finally ready and they're like, you know what? I'll sell my house. I'll make the plunge. Maybe I'll pay the higher interest rate. Now I think a lot of people are starting to think, maybe I'll just stay in my house and do some home improvement projects. What home improvement projects do you have on your list now?
Not a lot on the list, but we've done a lot. I mean, this is we're now in our third home in New York City. I mean, our last place, which we still own, by the way, we put that place down to the studs and redid the kitchen altogether, redid the bathroom, knocked down some walls. So yeah, been there, done that. The new place, it's kind of turnkey. I mean, we did do a lot of stuff.
You did more cosmetic stuff though.
Yeah, and we put in, like built-in shelves and all that stuff, but nothing, nothing structural. We weren't tearing down walls.
Well, I think what's always interesting is when you talk to a lot of the realtors out there, they'll tell you about the projects that people are looking for, right? So, if you're getting ready to sell your house, maybe you have to stage it, maybe you have to do different things, this, that, and the other thing. I'm always amazed at how much money people spend on projects that they never get back from the sale of their homes. So, okay, let's just pretend you're going to do this great project. Maybe you're me and you do this beautiful project where you have your primary bedroom and bathroom, and you're like, I want a new bedroom and bathroom. And you spend a fortune on said bedroom and bathroom. I was just with my designer last night, as a matter of fact. And I said to her, I love my bathroom so much that it makes me hate the bathroom that I have in the city. So this is in my second home. And she started laughing. She goes, well, anyone I would bring into your house would hate anything they have at their home. But I know to my gut level that if I were to sell my house today, there is no way that I would get the money out of that project that I put into it. And this made me start to think that it is time to really start talking about the renovations that people should be making that might pay off. So, Mark, I recently did a segment with Adriana Diaz and Tony DeCoppel on CBS Mornings, and we discussed just which of those renovations might pay off. So let's play that, and then let's come back and talk about, if you are going to do a renovation, how you might pay for it.
Well, in today's Money Watch, do you dream of upgrading your stainless steel appliances? A spa-inspired bathroom, perhaps, or maybe putting a pool in the backyard? Spring selling season is right around the corner, and many homeowners are looking to do some reno and demo. But before you schedule that big kitchen redesign, CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here to tell us which renovations could earn you big bucks if you sell and which really just aren't worth the effort. Jill, welcome.
I love this segment so much.
I do, too, because this morning I saw you in the makeup room. You look great.
You too.
Thank you. And I was like, definitely bathroom and kitchen, right?
Yeah, you'd be surprised because sometimes you think of the project you want, and we're going to talk a little bit about the projects where you may want it, but how much money you get back from the sale of your house. So I just want to distinguish that because, listen, if you've got oodles of money and you just want to have like your dream kitchen, go for it. But if you're thinking about how do I get the money back upon the sale of the property, there's different categories. So let me just blow your mind for a second. We have an actual analysis that we drew upon.
Really?
And we're looking at the projects that paid off the most. So you might be shocked to learn that you put a new front door in, you put a new garage door in, and when you do that, stone veneer siding, the money you put in, you get back and then some upon the sale. So especially those two doors, the garage and the steel door, front door, it's crazy. It like gets 193%
But what is
back.
it about a garage door that's
I think
so
it's
alluring?
it's the curb appeal, and that when something looks nasty and unpainted, it's a turnoff. And so people are upgrading those things for safety purposes and also for looks purposes.
So then the kitchen, everyone always wants to do the kitchen.
All right, we got to have a kitchen
Is
conversation.
it worth it?
I mean, if you want to make a kitchen upgrade and you keep it fairly basic, sort of like the first entry level, you're going to get your money back. But every level you go up, like if you go to a mid-tier kitchen, you're not going to get as much money back. And if you go full-blown upscale, you spend $150,000 on it, you're only going to get back 38 cents of every dollar you spend. Again, if you've got a lot of money to burn, you got Tony kind of money.
Well, if you're using the kitchen every day, using the kitchen every day, and
Don't go after Tony's kitchen, Jill.
I obviously no.
You're gonna live there for 10 years.
I want to point this out: that there is a difference between something that makes your life better and something that you're going to recoup. Okay, so we have a distinction there. So same thing with a bathroom. If you want to get the most out of your bathroom and you want to put your jacuzzi in, fantastic, great. But if you actually want more resale value, you don't upgrade your bathroom to the utmost degree. You put in a second or a third bathroom. Adding the space is very important.
So, Mark, let's just presume that you go hard in on that cost versus value analysis. Oh, you hate it. I know.
Can I just say, I've like as we just were talking about before. I've done quite a few renovations. It's never actually crossed my mind like, am I going to get this back when I sell my place? I'm like, no. Like this is where I'm going to be living. This is what I want to do to enjoy where I'm going to be living. So let's do it.
Okay, that is true. So I want also to remind everybody that, because we're staying in our homes longer, like an average of almost 8.2 years, it's the longest tenure since like going back 25 years. You should be doing the projects that improve your life. Okay. But if you're just thinking like, I want to do some projects to increase the value of the home, that's when you turn to one of those cost versus value reports. But Mark, let's say that you are getting ready to actually do a big renovation. And you look at your investment account that was, I'm going to just make this up, your investment account, which you had socked away $100,000 for this project. It's now worth 80. You didn't pull the money out in time. So your 100 has gone to 80 and you're all set. Otherwise, life is good. What is the way that you should finance your brand new kitchen, or you should finance the renovation of your basement to create more living space for yourselves? Should you just blow out of that account, admit you made a mistake, or should you do something else?
Well, should we also say that, if you knew you were going to be doing this, the money shouldn't have been invested in the first place? Okay.
Yes, we should. But I didn't want to make people feel bad about themselves. But you have. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, pull that 80 out. If you think you're going to be needing it here soon, take it out. It is what it is.
Again, and any money that you think you're going to spend on a renovation, so you got a renovation within 12 months, get that money in a high yield savings account. Get that money in a money market account and stop screwing around. Okay, so now tap that account. If you now say, well, I got some of the money. Let's say now all of a sudden your project costs more than you had anticipated. You can get a home equity line of credit. That's going to be expensive, Mark. Is it worth it to get the work done? Let's say you can afford the home equity line of credit. And let's just presume you can actually get this work done, some combination of savings and a home equity line of credit. Should you wait until interest rates come down? Should you delay the project? What do you think?
I mean, I really wouldn't want to wait. I'd rather just get it done. Like, the last thing you want is a renovation that's just dragging on way too long. I mean, that's a possibility. If you're maxing out retirement accounts, can you temporarily reduce the contributions that you're putting in and capture some of that cash flow and just cash flow the rest of it that way? That's another possibility.
Or could you borrow from your 401k? Because maybe your 401k borrowing rate is going to be lower than a home equity line of credit rate. And so I think that those are ideas that you should consider. You also want to check out whether your project depends on your income level, but you might qualify for a government Title I or Title 203K loan. If you are a moderate income homeowner or a low income homeowner, those loans are backed by the FHA. They're issued through private lenders, and you might get a lower rate. So you should check that out as well. Look, I know that the house it's sort of like a different kind of asset. It's not like any other asset. But what we want you to think about is what's going to make your life better. You'll hear us talk to people and we'll say to them, look, we get that you want to buy a bigger house, but is there a way to do something to your existing home because you don't want to give up that gorgeous sub 4% loan? You know, as of the end of last year, I think that we had about 55% of outstanding mortgage loans were under 4%. I get that you don't want to give that up. So if you are thinking that the way to improve your life is not to move to a bigger home, but maybe to do a project, maybe it's worth it. And get in touch with us if you'd like us to walk through which renovations make sense for you, and more importantly, perhaps, how to finance them. Because I think that for a lot of folks, you seem to get really excited about the idea of a home renovation project. You find out how much it's going to cost, and then you sort of get like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything. Well, maybe you can do it. Get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button and write us a note. If you want to join us live, check the box. Mark will do everything else. He'll get you on the air and we'll walk you through what is available to you. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every single Friday. And you can also check out our subscription service called Jill on Money Live. That is where you have access to quarterly live webinars, bonus audio and video content, and our entire back catalog, all for $45 for the next 12 months. Now, you can subscribe to this show on the Odyssey app. You can also subscribe to our sister broadcast called JillOnMoney.com on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Mark Talercio is the co-host and executive producer. I'm king of all things web here at JillOnMoney.com. We drop our episodes here on Saturdays and Sundays. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. And we ask that you do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.